What is happening, sports fans? It's your main man, Matt, from the DFS 5-pack, rocking it solo. It is Wednesday, September 29th. We got 13 more MLB games to go over last week of the season, so excited to finish strong, get after it tonight. We got NFL Week 4 coming. Last night's slate was pretty low scoring. I like the Reds and I like the Nationals, and they both really disappointed. It happens. A lot of teams disappointed last night. The Rockies weren't very good. Story homered, so he was chalky and good. Who else was good? St. Louis was pretty good. I called them out. The White Sox were pretty good. I was upset I didn't use them. But it was a very low-scoring night, and I do not expect the same tonight. We know how baseball works. It could happen like that, but I would be surprised if we didn't see a much higher scoring slate tonight, given just the amount of games and the amount of crappy pitchers that are on display tonight. That being said, let me screen share this, and we will dive right in. All righty, so pitching options are pretty substantial. We got a good amount of good arms on this slate, starting at the top with the lead dog, the top dog, however you want to say it, Max Scherzer, coming off a subpar outing in Colorado. I mean, Coors Field, it happens. Got hit a little bit, didn't have his best stuff. I definitely expect a bounce back from him here and against a San Diego team that looks more like a dead man walking than anything else to me. San Diego, very deflated, has a very piss poor second half of the season, and they look like they are just going out without a fight in my eyes. I think Scherzer rolls here, and he's the best pitcher on the slate. Rodon, I don't think he's in play at all. He's got great stuff, but I just see no scenario in which he's like given a long leash here. They're already locked into the playoffs. They want him healthy. I think this is more about showing them that he's healthy for those playoffs than it is him like giving them a start with 100 pitches tonight. Guy who does need a team that does need to continue to win, though, and a guy I like a lot is going to be Garrett Cole. Wasn't great last time out in Boston and got rocked the time before that against Cleveland. This is the time of year where I like Garrett Cole. He's right there with Scherzer as the best overall pitcher on the slate. Tough spot against Toronto, but Toronto also doesn't look very good. They've really come crashing down to earth since they swept the same Yankees team like a week and a half ago. And I don't know. I just think all these righties, Cole is going to have about as long a leash as you expect anyone to have. I like Cole a lot here. I like Scherzer a little bit more, but I like Cole quite a bit. And if you compare both of those guys together, do your thing. I'm a big Nola fan. I just don't really see myself using him here. I much prefer him at home. He's just better at home. He's been that way throughout his career. Tough spot in Atlanta. I like Cole and Scherzer more personally. Not that I think Nola's like out of play. I like those other guys slightly more. Frankie Montas, man, what a start against Houston last time out. I had a similar situation where he wasn't getting a ton of love, and he's not going to be overly owned tonight. He is picking up more ownership than he was that last start, though. I don't know. I think I like Cole and certainly Scherzer more. Seattle's hot right now. They're fighting for their playoff lives. The A's are done. I'm a little bit hesitant on Montas. That said, like Nola, I'm also a huge Montas fan, so I'm never going to disregard these guys if that's who you want to use. Luis Garcia, no thanks. Just don't really see it here. He's not of the talent level of those other guys I just talked about. Barrios is, and I don't think you're crazy to use Barrios. The Blue Jays are desperate for wins. They got to basically win out, I feel like, if they want to make the playoffs. Starts tonight. I don't think Barrios is crazy at all. I like the top guys more, but he's a little bit cheaper. Tougher spot for him, but he's a little bit cheaper. So I think he's right in the mix. Sonny Gray, I don't really see it on this slate. He is much better on the road, so that's worth noting. Like, you look at that game log, he was bad against Washington, bad against the Dodgers, really good in St. Louis against, a hot as hell St. Louis team, pretty good against the Cubs. He's just a lot better on the road. So another arm, like, I'm a big Sonny Gray fan. So, if you need 8,700 left for a pitcher, I feel like you could definitely do worse. Max Fried, I like Sonny Gray more. I'm a Fried fan. I like the cut of his jib. Wow, coming off a dominant start, a complete game shutout. Wow, only 4Ks. He's in really good form right now. Like I said, this slate is pretty loaded with pitching depth. So I like Scherzer and Cole, but I don't think you have to use those guys, or you have to use either of them. To be quite honest, there's enough options below them where I think you can viably spend down a bit on pitching. Another guy that I think is wildly in play is Nathan Eovaldi, 8,400, coming off just a disastrous start against the Yankees in Boston last time out. He just did not have it. I kind of liked him that night. I was wrong. I'm thinking he's in a nice spot to bounce back here. He's been solid all year, one of the better pitchers in the AL up until that last start. Basically, I expect him to bounce back. I don't say that with like supreme confidence, but at this price point, I mean, check out where he's been. He's just really cheap for the pitcher he's been this year, and at 8,400, I think he's a solid look in all formats. Hauser, no thanks. Just not even close there. It drops off hard after Eovaldi in my eyes. Alex Wood, still not throwing a ton of pitches, so no thanks. Logan Gilbert, he was chalky last time out, not very good. Oakland's not running out their top lineup anymore, so I don't think Gilbert's crazy at 7,600, but I don't think it's where I land. But I do like him over like Hauser, Wood, and probably even Hernandez. Yeah, wow. Hernandez giving up 3 bombs last time out. Home runs, I guess, haven't really been a thing that he gives up a ton of, but he has starts where he gives up a bunch. Plesac, no thanks. Lynch, no thanks. These guys just aren't cheap enough for me to really want to go there. Plesac has the occasional really good outing, but more than that, he's just more solid and spectacular, if that. Guy that's getting a lot of love is Taijuan Walker. Man, I don't know. I don't see it. Like, he sucks. He's got, decent stuff. There's a reason he made the All-Star team this year, but he has had an atrocious second half of the season. If he's really going to be chalky, and it looks like he is, coming in with a ton of ownership at 6,600, I'm not opposed to using some Miami bats. They're not getting any love against him. Big ballpark upgrade for them. They get 9 at bats. I think you could do worse than going with Miami and spending up on pitching if Walker's going to be, if he's really going to be that popular, which is how I feel. After that, and I get why he's getting love. He's in a great spot at home. He's got good K upside, and the options after him are pretty mushy. Nicholas and Kelly, no thanks. I will say Nicholas has been good his past 2 starts, throwing a bunch of pitches. I don't buy it, and I don't trust it, but I'd go with Nicholas over Walker in tournaments, like no questions asked. I mean, easy. Nicholas's past 2 starts of 19 plus. Let's see when the last time Taijuan Walker got 19 plus was. Yeah, that 126 start against the Dodgers. I was on the Dodgers that night, of course. Other than that, he's been atrocious. So I don't know. I'm not buying it. Give me some Miami bats. All righty. So, like I said, ideally you can spend up Cole and Scherzer, but there's plenty of guys like kind of in the upper mid-tier range that are in play. And then like in cash games, Walker and tournaments, Nicholas, I think are viable, cheap options. And yeah, so I guess like let's just plug these guys in because we know it won't get any harder than plugging in Cole and Scherzer. Let's talk about some offenses. Speaking of an offense, we're not speaking anymore, but an offense that let down big time last night, Boston. I liked them. Everyone liked them. What was not to like about them? They let down big time, and they're in another really good spot tonight where they're getting a ton of love. They look like, especially with Coors off the slate, the top overall offense. Again, in cash games, I think you want a bunch of these guys, 4 or 5 deep on Red Sox exposure here. They're just in a great spot. They're not overly expensive at all. 9 at bats, Zach Lothar in a crappy bullpen. I don't think that the Red Sox are going to struggle every night. If they played this game 1,000 times, they're not going to struggle like they did last night every time. That's for damn sure. So you could do a lot worse than just planting your flag on these guys in all formats, but especially cash games, given the ownership. In tournaments, honestly, I'll probably stay away and just hope that they are more solid than spectacular, and that, other teams or the other teams that I use at very low ownership, have better nights. As far as Baltimore goes, not really for me on this slate. I respect Eovaldi enough. Baltimore's a team I hardly use. Mount Castle having a really good year. He homered off Sale the other day. Was that last night? Yeah, that was last night. I don't think you're, crazy at all to like Mount Castle, but not really where I'm going to prioritize. Yankees and Blue Jays. This game's more about pitching for me. The Yankees are hot right now, and their best hitters are hot. So Stanton, I'm kind of mad I didn't use him last night because he ended up being really, really good. The guy that you needed. He's just on another level right now. When he's going like this, it's hard to get him out. It's not a good spot on paper for Stanton against Barrios. Tough righty-on-righty matchup. Obviously prefer Stanton against lefties, but that said, Stanton's crushing everyone now. I got no issue with him as a one-off. And if you want to go with like a small Yankee stack, I don't hate that either. Judge's 5-8 off Barrios. Other guys have decent numbers off of him. Nothing drastic. Nothing where you say, oh, I need to use him because of that. But the Yankees are going to be unowned here. They're not in a good spot on paper. And whenever you can get like Judge, Stanton, especially with how Stanton's going right now, low ownership, I'm interested. The Blue Jays, no thanks. I like Cole a lot here. Not interested in Toronto. Mets and Marlins. This is one where I am interested in. We got Taijuan Walker against Alicia Hernandez. I think both offenses are in play here. I really do. Looks like the Mets are getting a little bit of love, and it makes sense. They're also really cheap. I don't know. Jeff McNeil's having an awful year. Conforto seems very affordable at under $3K, not having a good year. Dom Smith at $2,500. Baez at $4,100. I'm surprised they're not getting more love. I mean, you could easily stack the Mets with this pitching. I mean, with the pitching I have right now, Pete Alonso, $4K. I mean, these guys are not hot right now, but I think they're in a good spot against Hernandez. Not that Hernandez is a guy I need to pick on, but they're cheap enough where I can see using them. And then I talked about the Marlins. I mean, they're even cheaper, facing a chalky Taijuan Walker. You got, Lewin Diaz at $2,300, Jesus Sanchez at $3,300. I mean, you could do the full stack here against a guy that gives up a lot of power that has struggled. So, easily. Chisholm's crazy expensive, but, the other guys are so cheap, it doesn't really matter. So throw him in there. And then you could really go whoever you want. I like this De La Cruz. What's he done lately? Not much. I mean, obviously, we'll have to wait and see what their lineup looks like when it gets dropped. But you guys get the point. I think that Miami's certainly in play against the chalky Taijuan Walker. And the Mets, too. I think this whole game's in play. Probably not getting as much love as it should. Two pitchers that can certainly give up power. Phillies and Braves, Max Fried against Aaron Nola. Nola's a guy I hardly ever want to pick on. And Max Fried's a guy I, very, very rarely want to pick on. I think Atlanta has the better offense. I think Nola is better than Fried. So I think the spots are similar. I don't know. I just, on this big of a slate, I can't really see stacking the offenses here. The offenses are very good, so they have upside every time they're, on any slate they're on. If you want to one-off any of these guys for your thing, but hard to sit here and say that one of these, that Philly against Fried or Atlanta against Nola is going to take down the slate with any confidence. Tigers and Twins, Pineda against Casey Mize. Now, Casey Mize is kind of with kids' gloves at the moment, not throwing deep games at all. So you got Mize in the Tigers bullpen against what looks to be kind of a chalky Minnesota team. They're getting not quite as much love as Boston, but similar. And it makes sense. They're affordable. Sano homer last night. I mentioned that he looked like he might have a big game soon. That wasn't even the big game, but nice to see him make contact at least one time out of 4. Buxton under 5K, just their best overall player and hitter. He makes a lot of sense. Kepler 39. Yeah, I mean, Minnesota's in a good spot against Mize in that bullpen. And then I don't hate Detroit either at all. Detroit's rarely a team I ever want to like fully stack because they're just not good. But Pineda's not very good either. Twins bullpen isn't good. They got a couple guys I'm interested in, namely Akil Baddoo, Isaac Paredes at 2,500. This kid is a good hitter, and he's actually in pretty good form right now. So, yeah, at 2,500, a value bet I think we can look at. A guy that would fit in a lineup like this. I mean, you plug him in and a couple of those Miami guys. Like, literally, if you go Paredes, Luis Diaz, and Jesus Sanchez, I mean, honestly, you got 4,300 per guy now with Scherzer and Cole. So, like, I mean, you could go a lot of different places with this, wherever you really want. And then there's other cheap guys you can go to. Another team we'll talk about that I kind of like is the Angels. So, Marsh leading off at 2,300. There's cheap bats all over. So just worth noting. But Paredes is a guy that's definitely on my short list at 2,500, hitting the middle of that Tigers lineup in a good spot against Pineda. Kid raked in the minors, and I think he's a nice value bet. All righty, Milwaukee and St. Louis. So, like I said, Nicholas has been. I'm trying to see something real quick. Second, guys. All right, sorry about that. I was looking something up. We got Hauser against Nicholas. I mean, Hauser's not a guy I'm afraid to pick on. And St. Louis is just as high as it gets. Goldie, Arenado, they're finally living up to their names. Tyler O'Neill, another big night last night. He's expensive. I mean, they're expensive, so it's hard to want to prioritize them here. But, man, they're just so hot right now. What Bader do? Bader with another solid game. I could see stacking St. Louis on this slate. No one's going to do it. Hauser, again, is not a guy I'm afraid to pick on. Milwaukee doesn't look great. St. Louis is the hottest team in the world, winning 17 in a row. I don't think you're crazy at all to look at some St. Louis, and I like them quite a bit more than Milwaukee against Miles Nicholas, who's in good form right now. Now, St. Louis clinched, so you might see like a weak lineup from them. That might matter, but we'll just have to wait and see on that. All right, now we get to another one I'm interested in. We got the Angels in Texas taking on the Rangers, Jansen Junk for LA, and Taylor Hearn for Texas. Two offenses I think you can look at. Not really interested in the pitching at all. But the offenses, man, especially the Angels, are so cheap. Ohtani's expensive at 62. Okay. He's their best hitter, best player. But like Walsh at 37. Mayfield at 26. Again, these guys aren't great hitters like by any means, but they're so cheap and in a good spot. They work as filler pieces. Again, if you don't want to use the Miami, I think you can look at some Angels. You can use them together. We talked about Marsh. Phil Gosselin's good against lefties. Again, it's hard to get excited about these guys, but fine ballpark for hitting, not ballpark you're going out of your way to target, but not one you're avoiding either. Good pitching matchup, bad bullpen, cheap price points. So we'll have to wait and see what their lineup looks like. And then as far as the Rangers go, they're more expensive, but they're also in a good spot. These guys had a good game. It must have been Yadiel. Or no, it must have been Ibanez. Yeah. Ibanez back-to-back really good games. So he's a guy I think you can look at and hitting towards the top of that lineup. Obviously, Adolis Garcia, Nate Lowe. I don't mind some Texas here. Not like a top priority for me, but a good game environment. Don't hate it at all. Cincy and the White Sox, not looking at the Reds here. Very big letdown last night. And, against Rodon and a good bullpen. No, thank you. As far as the White Sox go, also not looking at them against Sonny Gray. I have more interest in Sonny Gray than I do the White Sox themselves. 75 at bats against this current White Sox lineup. They are hitting 106 against him. So that kind of just tells you all you need to know. I will say one guy that I don't mind, Nick Castellanos is a one-off, 5 for 10 off Rodon, crushes lefties. Again, only 1 for 4 last night, but other than that, in seeing the ball really, really well. And his single last night was well struck. I saw it. So I got no issues with Castellanos here. Only 1K against Rodon. Yeah, interested. All right. Other than that, though, other than Castellanos, really, no one I'm looking at. Tampa and Houston, we've got Drew Rasmussen against Luis Garcia. Rasmussen has been pretty good. Finally got hit a little bit against Toronto last time out, and against Houston, he doesn't strike out a lot of guys. A lot to like about the Houston lineup. Now, that said, they're hard to get to. I mean, these price tags, 58 for Altuve. I do like Bregman a lot. One of my favorite bats on the slate. Another homer yesterday. Looks like he's about to get hot. Correa, 54. Alvarez, 50. Tucker, 54. They do have a couple cheap pieces to go with them, but the hitters you want are expensive as hell. So I like the stack, but it's going to require some getting weird to get the full stack for sure. Excuse me, guys. I had a hiccup. Very uncomfortable. All right, as far as Tampa goes, cheaper than Houston. Kind of the same situation as last night. Luis Garcia is fine. I'm not the biggest Garcia fan. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's trash by any means either. So not a spot where I think you have to pick on Tampa, but I don't think you're crazy either because they're just much more affordable. Arozarena homered last night. He's cheap for his upside. I was going to say what's his deal, but he ain't up. Yeah, I think both these offenses are kind of honorable mentions, but they could do worse than getting the pieces from this game on either side. All right, next up we got Cleveland, my Cleveland Indians. One of the last times I'm going to be able to say that forever, against the Kansas City Royals. Two decent pitchers on the hill, two okay offenses, two average pitchers. I can see this playing out any one of a million ways. Could see it being 10-9. I could see it being 2-1. I could see one team rolling. Either team that being, Cleveland against Lynch looks like they're just really, really affordable and getting quite a bit of love. Fernando Reyes, Jose Ramirez. Those guys are expensive. Miles Straw. I guess you got like Harold Ramirez. I don't know. I don't really get like the Cleveland love. They're getting a lot of ownership right outside of Boston and Minnesota as the next highest owned team. I don't know. I mean, I get it as pieces. They're in a fine spot, but the guys you want are expensive. Like, give me Houston over Cleveland for sure. I don't know. Cleveland's fine. They're not a priority for me. Yeah, I think Cleveland's, like I said, they're fine. Not a priority for me. I can't really say it any better than that. Kansas City, I think I like more. Plesac's very hit or miss. They're going to get a lot less ownership than Cleveland. Even with them, though, like I'm not going to get to Kansas City on this slate. I'm going to hope I'm going to hope Plesac pitches well enough. I'm not going to use Plesac, but bad ballpark for hitting. I'm just going to hope this one kind of duds all the way around. Arizona and San Fran. We've got Merrill Kelly against Alex Wood. Another one. Merrill Kelly's okay. Not a guy I have to pick on. But San Fran's got a very good offense, and they're finally affordable. Crawford's expensive, but he should be at 51. Bryant under 5K. Yaz at 42. Lamont Wade at 42, now starting with Brandon Belt out every day. I like San Fran here quite a bit. Doesn't look like they're getting a lot of love at all, and that just makes me like them more. They're affordable enough, too. You can use some of these guys with a lineup like this. Pretty easily. So, yeah, I like San Fran here. Definitely on my short list tonight. As far as Arizona goes, let me see one thing with Arizona. Yeah, not really feeling too much of Arizona. I will say a guy that I always like against lefties. Oh, he's so cheap, too. And he homered off Kershaw for me the other day. It's going to be Carson Kelly. He is 4-9 with a bomb and a double and a triple off of Alex Wood. And he's 3,100. So, yeah, I'm feeling Carson Kelly here, especially like in this type of lineup where you need the savings. Yeah, give me Kelly here for sure. Yeah, other than that, not too interested in Arizona. Ketel Marte had been really, really good. Oh, he's only 2B eligible now. 4,500 is pretty affordable for him, though. Don't hate it. I'll say that. All right, next up we got the Dodgers hosting the Padres. Max Scherzer against Ryan Weathers. Certainly not interested in San Diego here. The Dodgers are definitely in play. Trey Turner, man, on fire right now, running, big power. He's right up there as the top piece of the Dodgers at the moment. Expensive, but not like overly expensive. It's hard to get to the Dodgers for sure. They're pricey. They're in a really good spot, though. Weathers isn't going to go too deep, but the Padres bullpen is pretty taxed. I think Lamet might pitch a little bit tonight. Not the greatest spot in the world for the Dodgers, but not a bad spot either. So I don't mind, getting to some LA at all. Looks like Bellinger might be back tonight too. Very affordable for his upside as well. So yeah, I think the Dodgers look good all the way around if you can get to them and want to prioritize them here. Last but not least, we got Oakland at Seattle. Frankie Montas against Logan Gilbert. Definitely this game's more about the pitching for me. Like I said, Seattle is still fighting for their playoff lives. Oakland is done. So I definitely don't want to use guys from Oakland. I don't want to pick on Montas either. Mitch Haniger's red hot, but there's just other guys I like so much more. So this game's all about offense. Bad ballpark. Hopefully it doesn't bust out offensively, and I don't think it will. All right, so that's what I got for you guys. Let me just do this real quick because we'll just give an idea. So like I said earlier, I really feel like, with Carson Kelly, you got Chalk, Taiwan Walker. And it doesn't mean he's not going to pitch well, but he doesn't really deserve to be Chalk at any point right now. And who's the other guy? Paredes. So you got 4,500 left. You could even go, and I feel like this is contrarian enough, or even if you wanted to stack Boston and go Devers. JD Martinez. Bogarts. You get that threesome right there. Yeah, those guys are going to get love, but the other guys in your lineup are going to be so low owned, it doesn't even matter. People always talk about, the ownership of this guy or that guy. That is not irrelevant, but it just doesn't mean what people think it means because it's all about the ownership of your whole team. If you've got a guy that's 1% owned or less than 1% owned that goes yard twice, you can have all the chalk you want with that as long as the chalk does good. It's about identifying what's good chalk and what's bad chalk. So I'm not saying Boston is good chalk tonight, but they might be. They're in a damn good spot, that's for sure. All right, so 3,300 left if I was filling out this lineup. Damn, he does not start against lefties, so it just is what it is there. It sucks because I think he's really good, but can't start him if he's not starting. Obviously only for an outfielder. That's why it was taking me so long. Harrison Bader, I talked about. Dylan Carlson. Any of those St. Louis guys. De La Cruz, I mentioned, if their lineup comes out and he's hitting towards the top of it for sure. Also, no, don't have to go Bogarts. JD, could go. Say you like Cleveland more than I do tonight. Go J-Ram. Fran Mill. Rosario. Now you're at basically the same spot. So, and then let's say you even want to go way more contrarian than that. Let's see who else we talk about that. Because well, Judge Stanton. think Paredes is third base eligible too. You could just go Judge Stanton. You don't have to go anyone else from the Yankees, like by any means. You could just go like 2-man stack. So yeah, want to just get a little extra for you guys. I know I'm going off the cuff a little bit. Some of you might not care, but figure you'd like the insight if nothing else. And yeah, I'm excited for this slate. Hopefully you guys are too. If you want to go check out the DFS 5-pack, we'd love to have you. These videos are going to be winded down shortly, unfortunately as soon as baseball ends. But we'll have more football content. So come check us out. We'd love to have you join the team. And until then, appreciate you guys as always. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.